So this is something that's happened. It happened a little while ago, and it is probably one of the, I think every time this happens to a video game, it is an amazing thing. There was a video game that came out last year, Lords of the Fallen, and the reception to that game was incredibly negative. People hated the game. And by people, I mean me. I hated the game. They turned it around, and they did a full 2.0 update. They put the game on sale, and they totally changed the game.
I don't think we've seen anything like this before. We have a studio that is essentially headed into oncoming traffic. They've turned around and they're headed back in the direction of the players. They've been criticized by the media.
No Man's Sky, exactly.
All because they took a stance saying that they don't believe that social or political messaging should influence game design.
Oh, God.
Imagine that being controversial. Imagine siding with the players being controversial. Take it a step further. I was approached by this studio to make a video under the condition that there are no restrictions. Make the videos that you like to make. It's for the best. So this video is sponsored by Lords of the Fallen with no red tape, no censorship. The only thing that they asked is that I talk about their 2.0 update and how much the game has improved. Joke's on them. I would have talked about it anyway. It's really impressive what they've done.
Yeah.
But this is how you reach players. Transparency. They understand that. This game has gone through hell and back.
So basically what earned this development studio a bunch of hate from the game's journalist people is that they put out a poll. Would you rather have body type A and B or 1 and 2? Or would you rather have male and female? And one of the lead developers of the game put this poll out, and the poll went exactly the way that you would expect. 95% of people said male and female, and they changed it based off of that. Now, this, of course, made them bigots, homophobic, transphobic, racist, not, I mean, you know, if you're one of them, you're all of them, right?
Studios gone through a reboot that didn't really land all that well right when it first came out, but now it's transformed into one hell of a comeback story. They are allowing you to be able to invite your friend to play the game for free. Seamless co-op progression, friend plays for free. Just like It Takes Two or Split Fiction. I feel like I'm living in an alternate universe right now. So today what I want to do is I want to talk about Lords of the Fallen.
This is another really big thing, is that if they ever want to make another game, they have to make it right with their first game. Because like Lords of the Fallen was already a remake from a game that didn't hit. And so if you have 2 misses, you're not going to have people that get super excited for the third swing. And so now that you have, obviously, the game get improved, people are happy. In general, I think people are happy. Building that reputation is necessary if you ever want to make another game.
Taking a stance against the direction that this industry has been headed in. I want to talk about all the improvements they've made with their game, with their 2.0 update. And I also want to talk about the interview that I had with their CEO about how they're putting players first.
Yep.
The world is healing. Lords of the Fallen is a bit of an odd beast. The original game came out in 2014 under a studio named Deck 13. It had promise, great art direction, a strong premise, but it had a lot of issues. It didn't really understand what it was like to be a Souls-like game, and as such, it never really found an audience.
Well, the reason why is because it just didn't play very well. That's the reason. The fact is that, like, the graphics, the aesthetic, the design, and everything else was totally on point. I mean, really, this is a game made for Dark Souls Andes. It is. And it was buggy. It was just, the game just sucked, right? I mean, that's it. Like, there's like 50 things wrong with it. But, like, I think the reason why so many people had such a negative reception to Lords of the Fallen when it originally came out is because the expectation was that it was going to be amazing. Because so many other things about the game were amazing.
The IP was then passed around a few different times through a few different studios. The project was shut down a handful of times before CI Games just said, screw it, and founded an entirely new studio called Hexworks to try again from the ground up. And what they made in 2023 was a massive improvement. The now rebooted Lords of the Fallen under the same name looked beautiful. The art direction was incredible. Seriously, I love the way that this world looks. It was genuinely unique, shifting between realms depending on the situation, serving as both a combat mechanic and an exploration tool. The game finally had something resembling its own voice.
Yeah.
But that voice was buried under some serious performance issues, bugs, balance problems, issues with combat and exploration. It reviewed decently with a 73 on OpenCritic.
Because they're fucking retarded. They don't know what the hell they're doing. That's the reason why. Like, you look at this here. Top critic average? No. Player rating is visible? No, this doesn't matter. So here's the big problem this game had. One of the biggest issues is the first level in this game was basically you fighting on the side of a mountain on different platforms. every attack that your character did would throw your character like 5 feet forward. So you would constantly be getting pushed off of the edge by your own attacks fighting monsters. And then it had Dark Souls 2 enemy design, where they had all of the enemies there. It's like every enemy is behind every wall, so it will push you off unless you're waiting for it. It was basically designed to be the most annoying and frustrating version of the game that it could possibly be. Falling.
But it didn't really land. It was one of those hot and cold games where some people really liked it for what it was, and other people didn't want to have anything to do with it. The kind of game that you'll hear about for a week before it vanishes from conversation, especially given the fact that it launched near pretty steep competition in Lies of P
tried to
just
like
the month
this game.
before it. In most cases, hell, 9 times out of 10, any studio would have taken the loss. They would have fixed a few bugs and then begun work on their next title. But Hexworks and CIA Games did the opposite. They dug in. Over the past 2 years, they have shipped more than 50 updates.
That's fucking insane. Look at all of this. These are all free updates that were added for the game after the release. That is amazing. It's like No Man's Sky again? I think so. That they released this huge patch with a sale on the game for like 40% off or something like that. It was a massive discount.
Improved stability, added build variety, and listened to very specific criticisms from the community. Things like stamina balancing, boss scaling, mob density, co-op stability. It's rare to see a developer actually chip away at a game like this. Not for press, not for hype, not for anything other than just wanting to make the game better for the people that bought it.
Also, like real quick, this is good for their business. You can't develop a relationship with a customer base if you just continue releasing bad products. So if like theoretically, like they're eventually probably going to make another game, right? And when they do make that next game, this game will be the frame of reference for the next game. And if the next game looks good, people still won't care because they're going to say, well, the first game looked good and it was still bad. Say that to Ubisoft? I don't have to. Tencent already did. That's why they had to make a subsidiary company and fire a bunch of people. They're probably going to have to lay off over 10,000 people. I'm not even kidding you. They're getting bought out by China. They're literally in an apocalypse situation. People might not realize it, but they are.
Actively were listening to feedback the entire time, making improvements and getting no recognition for it. Well, I shouldn't say no recognition because the game has consistently climbed from mixed reviews up to mostly positive, but after this next update, I wouldn't be surprised if this game's going to climb even higher. Lords of the Fallen has released their 2.0 update, and with it, everything has come together. This isn't just another patch, it's a full overhaul. Combat responsiveness has been tightened, feeling much smoother than before. They've added unique sound and better sound to every single weapon attack, blocks, and even parries, giving combat that heft that it was missing.
The visuals, or sorry, not the visuals, the audio cues and everything were very not good. People even brought that up in the trailer when people didn't have the chance to play the game.
Faster dodging is cleaner. They added a dedicated jump button for smoother platforming.
The jump used to be like in Dark Souls 1 where you had to be running in order to jump. And you also, like, remember what I was talking about with the platforming thing on like the side of the mountain? You had to be making these running jumps while you had these casters attacking you with range things that would knock you down. It was so annoying.
They've even gone as far as adding a new guidance mechanic for the Umbral Lamp that allows you to navigate yourself when lost.
I forgot about that when I was lost in this game for 2 hours. I wish I had remembered.
Literally attacked every single major criticism of this game here. Visually, the game is even sharper. They've revamped their UI. They've improved their character creator, allowing for more masculine and feminine character designs by their audience. And honestly, I still think this is probably one of the best uses of Unreal Engine 5 to date.
This looks amazing. Really, this looks fucking awesome.
Detail to the lighting, to the fact that the entire game, though linear, renders the entire world all at the same time. It's gorgeous. But here's where things get really interesting. They have added a genre-first system, which they're calling the Free Friends Pass. You can now invite a friend who doesn't own the game to come and play the entire thing with you co-op. No trial, no demo, the full game. You can play together. You all get to keep your loot and character progression. And eventually, if they want to pick up the game for themselves, well, they can pick up right where they left off.
Holy fuck. God damn. Is there skill in making Unreal 5 look good? No, it's not true. I think there's plenty of shitty things in Unreal 5.
Skip this game at launch. I had watched a few reviews. I saw the performance issues. I'd heard the complaints about map design, the combat. I watched Asmongold pull out what was left of his hair while he was being overwhelmed by too many enemies, and I just didn't want to deal with it. I was still working in construction at the time, a lot of hours to burn, so I figured I would circle back to it if things ever got fixed.
Yeah.
And they did. And more. A lot more. I've been playing it, and while Lords of the Fallen still has some rough edges, the narrative is relatively thin and not particularly well delivered. You still come across some random visual bugs here or there, like my cloak breakdancing around my neck. Enemy telegraphs can be a little inconsistent. Boss fights don't always deliver the impact that you feel like they should. Some of them definitely do. But there is something incredibly charming about playing this game. It's like they accidentally created their own sub-flavor of the Souls genre.
I don't even necessarily agree with a lot of that. I think the game plays pretty well. I don't really give a fuck about the story that much. There's like some demon and he's bad, and then at the end he tells you he's good and they're bad. Okay, that's about it. I mean, it really didn't seem that complicated to me. Boring bosses? I thought the bosses were... So the only thing about this is that I wish there were more bosses.
More consumable, less punishing, but still engaging, leaning much harder into the fun of these games rather than the difficulty, though the game isn't without challenge. A game like this, or at least like a lot of other Souls-like games do, you're not constantly on edge or feeling drained after every fight. There is a much lower mental barrier to entry here, something you can actually relax into while getting your Souls-like fix. There is something incredibly satisfying about shredding through a game like this, and even when I do hit a tough boss or a challenging section of enemies, I never feel stuck. I overcome it after a couple of tries, and I move on. It's kind of nice to play a game like this that doesn't make me want to throw my controller through the wall. I
think this is a big problem that a lot of Souls-like games are beginning to have, is that the genre for the games has become so experienced and so skilled at playing it that they now want increasingly harder games to be made in order to continue to, like, basically appeal to them. And I think that that's a huge, like, big problem. Because every single new Souls-like game that comes out that's built for people that have beaten Lies of P on New Game Plus 1 or 2, this game is completely unapproachable for a new player. Totally unapproachable. And whenever I say, like, totally, of course there are some people that play it and it's fine, but I'm talking about, like, on an average.
Make the perfect game, but they've made something interesting. And more importantly, they never stop trying to make it better. In a time that so many studios are content shipping broken products and never fixing them, maybe patch it once or twice and move on, Lords of the Fallen feels like a genuine passion project, something that they never wanted to give up on, and one that keeps getting better every time that you come back. In most cases, this game would have been long abandoned by now, but Hexworks and CI Games never gave up on it. They really wanted to make sure that this game would work, and honestly, they did it. They pulled it off. There's something in that not wanting to give up.
Going from Sekiro to Dark Souls? Yeah. And I think that that's the problem, is that a lot of people that are in this genre really want the games to continue being harder and harder. And I think that's a bad way of designing. I think that having some super bosses is a really good idea, kind of like how Elden Ring had bosses like Melania. But the base game should not be super challenging.
And we're talking about a game that failed once already, that had multiple reboot attempts, finally put out another one, and here they are improving that one.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of respect in that, because not only does it mean a lot to the players that purchased the game, but it also means a lot to me as a player who hasn't, or, well, I mean, I have now, but it also means a lot to me as a player that's now looking forward to what they work on next.
Yeah.
Because you're building a reputation.
People can rely on you not to just totally fucking, like, as soon as they realize that, okay, this game isn't going well, all right, boys, abandon ship, run away. And that's it. And I feel like that's definitely kind of a, that's a very common thing that many games have, is that as soon as it comes out, it doesn't do well initially, and then the developers just immediately roach out.
I'm happy I didn't play this game when it first came out, because I would have gone in with the wrong expectations. I would have been disappointed by the performance. But now, I'm just having a really good time, relaxing and playing something a bit more casual, something a bit more polished, a hack and slash take on the Souls genre. I'm digging it. Share the game with your friends for free. That I didn't see coming. I thought that was something that was reserved just for Hazelight. And this is the last genre that I would expect to see something like that in, because it's genius, plain and simple.
Well, the thing is that share the game with your friends and you can play with your friends. It's not genius. I don't know. Mario Kart was genius. This is effectively being able to play split screen or co-op with your friends. It's the exact same thing. You go over to your friend's house and you play at their house.
They're going to want to buy the game so they can play with a friend for free. Have that friend that's likely to buy the game if they end up liking it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how this whole thing works. Keep in mind, I've brought this up before. I said that while everybody else wants to increase their prices, the ones that are going to succeed are the ones that are going to undercut them.
This is so funny. He made this video and then Expedition 33 came out and it's the best reviewed game of all time.
It's undercutting them.
Wow.
Fair pricing. This is how you build loyalty.
That's crazy.
This is how you get players to trust you. I like it. I've had my eye on CI Games and Hexworks for a minute. Their CEO of CI Games has been very active over the past few years.
Oh, boy.
Getting very involved in discussions, saying some things about the industry, to say the least. I
completely agree with.
And I never imagined that they would go to this length to make good on a promise. They came forward saying that they want to be a player-first studio. And from my perspective, at least right now, that looks like exactly what they're doing.
Imagine thinking that's bad. How do you say, no, you shouldn't be a player-focused studio? You should care about these arbitrary rules that we've invented, and you should make your game based off of that.
We're going to do it regardless of whether or not it pisses off the industry.
Yeah. The arrogance is unreal. Yeah.
One of the biggest complaints that I've seen for modern gaming, bigger than bugs, performance issues, hell, even bigger than monetization lately, is something that a lot of people don't even feel comfortable saying out loud. The creeping presence of personal ideology in games, political messaging, performative social narratives, studio agendas that feel more concerned with social media engagement than they do with actually making a game that players want to play. It's not just about what's in these games, it's the overwhelming feeling that you're not even allowed to question any of it. That raising your hand to say, hey, maybe this doesn't belong here, will get you labeled, dismissed, or dogpiled by bad faith actors that think any disagreement is hate speech. And let's be real, very few developers are willing to be even open to this conversation. It's become the ever-present elephant in the room.
It's absolutely an elephant in the room. And you see that with every new video game that doesn't do well. And every journalist and person inside of the industry is desperately trying to figure out some sort of abstract reason for why the game didn't succeed, instead of just reading the first 50 YouTube comments of the same people saying the same thing. There's always got, oh, no, the audience doesn't understand why they don't like it. I do.
Are so afraid of even upsetting the status quo that they've been defaulted into silent complicity more than anything else.
A lot of developers are afraid of designing a game without, like, you know, the quote woke elements to it, because they're worried that the industry will demonize them. And you've seen this happen with multiple games already. So it's not like this is some kind of like made up bullshit. It's already happened. We've seen it happen.
Worse, even when the sales are going down, even when the fans are slowly walking away, everybody just stays silent.
Yeah, they just stick with it.
CI Games did the opposite. Sometime last year, Marek Tominsky, the CEO of CI Games, the guy behind Lords of the Fallen's Resurrection, made a stand. He said that he was going to put players first, not just as a slogan, but as a business strategy, a design philosophy, a studio culture. And he didn't just say it, he followed through.
Who do you trust the most for gaming news and info? Traditional media is even below influencers. That's really bad. And also friends and communities, none of the above, fucking based. How should attractive female lead characters look in an action RPG? Classy and beautiful, sexy and provocative. I'm here for gameplay, cute and playful, right? Well, they don't have fat and ugly, so how could all the Western journalists vote on that? How should attractive male characters look in an RPG? Rugged and badass. Yep, there it is. What a surprise. Guys want to look like guys that look good. Can you believe that? Is Asmon the media or an influencer? Yes. Should lead video game characters be widely considered attractive / aspirational by the vast majority of players? Only 2.5% of people said no, after over 10,000 votes. This is who Western gaming developers are listening to. 2.5% of retards. And the reason why people hate this guy for doing it is because he shows how transparently unpopular it is.
Impersonal system that nobody really asked for, and it just kind of appeared one day forced upon us.
This was the evil. This was the true evil one. Alienated journalists and made people very upset. In a medieval fantasy action RPG experience, what do you prefer to choose between? We will follow the final result. Body type A and B versus male and female. The obvious, common sense, reasonable, non-mentally ill option obviously won in a resounding landslide. And the reason why journalists and the people in the industry hate him is because he told the truth. Actually, he didn't. He just simply showed it.
So he asked the players directly, fantasy action RPG experience, would you prefer between these two? Body type A and B, male and female, or something else? Nearly 50,000 people voted. 88% of them said male and female. CI Games went and made the change just like that. They reverted it.
There it is. Why would you... Here's the question, right? Why would you keep something in the game that 88% of your players don't like? What are you, retarded? What are you, some kind of big dumb idiot? You taking stupid pills?
Agree or disagree with that decision, that's not really the point here. The point is they asked their audience directly. They got an overwhelming response. Yeah. They acted on it. This is what listening looks like. After making these changes, Merrick would then take things further. He would then take a stance and talk about how studios need to separate their personal politics from commercial products, saying that the key is to separate social and political views.
And you know, by the way, this was a hose mad situation. 2.3 million views with only 2,000 likes? Absolutely hose mad. This is why they hate the game? That's right. As I said, we are absolutely winning this like battle. I will not stop until every video game journalist is back to DoorDash. And every single one of these sensitivity consultants is back to HR where they belong. Or they're maybe back to working at Starbucks or Walmart or whatever. We already have made a tremendous amount of progress. We have been actively destroying this industry to a tremendous degree. And the reason why people are really upset about me is the fact that it's working. The number of video game articles dropped by over 100,000. There's less than 100 games journalists left. They're an endangered species, and we're poaching them. We are. We're getting rid of every single one of these fucking parasites. Fucking parasites that have, against everybody's will, desire, and intention, attached themselves to something that they have no business being a part of, and tried to force an ideology and a way of thinking into it without asking anyone, without any consensus, and then demonizing anybody who disagrees. That's it. Just one negative when they're gone is no more stupid content for them. They hate me because I'm standing in the way of you. Well, I think that a lot of people get mad at me. You're right. They get mad at me because I am an avatar for the average consumer. I am an avatar for the average gamer. I will tell people what is going through the minds of an average person with no filter. And that's why they really don't like me. And that's also why the videos are really popular. Are you doing the same thing? Yeah, I know. No, I have no problem utilizing bad tactics in order to get a goal that I want. I have no problem with this at all. Of course. If it works, then I'll do it. My goal is to achieve, my mindset is I want to achieve a goal. And so I look at how can I achieve that goal? And then I simply do those actions. That's the end of it. And justify the means? Yeah, sure. Would you lie? No, I don't. No, because that's disrespecting the audience. You see, a lot of times people take short-term gains that are actually long-term losses. I think I conduct myself in an incredibly ethical, morally correct, reasonable, humble, and good way. And the reason why is that I know what you need to do in order to win in a long game against an ideology like this. That's why I act the way that I do. Which is short-term losses. Yeah, I have no problem taking a short-term loss if I feel like it's something that's beneficial in the long term.
Of course, the media did not take that well, and headlines popped up everywhere. Lords of the Fallen dev is wrong about politics, and Elden Ring proves it.
Wrong about? What do you mean they're wrong about it? Elden Ring proves it. I don't know. So the logic is that because Elden Ring has body type 1 and 2, that people bought the game because it said less people would have bought the game if it had male and female? What are you talking about? How can you even think like that?
Lords of the Fallen publisher embraces the fear of DEI boogeyman.
That's right. You can make fun of it and complain and cry and get mad and call me whatever name you want. And the only thing you're going to do is be in my next video. Go ahead. Seems fine to me.
Uses anti-DEI as marketing meme. Since any social, political, or identity-first design is framed as evil, as ignorance, as bigotry, even when the vast majority of players agree with it. Even when it's just a studio doing what any other business in the world would do and what they're supposed to be doing, which is serve their customers. I reached out to Merrick directly to ask him about this, about the backlash, and about why he felt it was important to open the door to these kind of conversations when the industry has slammed it shut.
And also, this is something that's becoming increasingly more popular. A lot of these game studios are now afraid of the negative reaction that they're getting from players when they introduce something like this into a video game, and then all of the players reject it, and there's a huge hate campaign against the games. That's the goal. Yeah, that's the goal. That's the whole point. Yeah, duh. So stop doing it. That's the goal. Yeah, exactly. And it works.
We want to serve our communities the best we can. Last year, we made it a part of our strategy is being player first. That's not just a slogan, it's the full reality that we're committed to. We don't allow any DEI bullshit to impact our products.
They did not like that at all.
We were wrong about body types A and B. We fixed that very quickly to male and female when it became clear that that's what the vast majority want. The games industry was hijacked at some point by activists. It ended up...
And the reason why it got hijacked by activists is because the gaming industry is full of a bunch of beta male simps that immediately will kowtow and capitulate to anything that a woman tells them. That's the reason why. You might not want to hear it, but I'm going to say it. That's the reason. Not us, though? No, of course not. We're totally different. They're bad and we're good.
With a lot of false assumptions of so-called modern audience. I follow a very simple old concept. Make products your customers want.
Whoa, you can't just do that. What?
Now, regardless of where you fall on these issues, I still think this is the key. The fact that something so basic, make what people want, has become so controversial tells you everything that you need to know about the state of this industry today. The audience feels this overwhelming pressure being forced into almost every media product that they consume. It's not something that they asked for, and when they complain about it or try to ask a question, they are treated like social dissidents. These people are paying for these things. It's not that these things can't exist in games. It's just that you can't expect people to want it or like it.
Well, they think that they can bully people into being silent. And the fact is that they've been able to do that. They've been able to do that. And it's been, guys, it's been a long, like, how long have I really been, like, pushing and shitting on this stuff? I'd say, like, probably 3 years, right? Like 3 or 4 years? Like, seriously. Like, really, like, going in on it right after COVID? Yeah, pretty close after that. And think about how much progress we've made already. And also, after I'm fully done, you know, getting rid of this, we will move on to something else. But this is also, like, we are entering into the circling the drain phase of this behavior, right? What's next? Well, you'll just have to wait and find out. Of this crusade, yeah, I think, you know what? Crusade sounds really good. I like that word. Yes, against this crusade. Let the crusade continue. Exactly. And just like the Crusaders, after we raid one village.
And if you want your customers to be happy, you have to give them what they want, not what you want.
That is actually such a good way to say it. Give the customers what they want rather than what you want.
When I asked Merrick about the growing divide between players and developers, or just the industry in general, and why so few studios seem willing to even ask any hard questions, he said something that really stuck with me. I think most of them are asking, but too often they ask selectively, avoiding questions they don't want to ask.
Yeah, if you don't talk about it, maybe it'll go away.
That quote cuts to the heart of the issue.
Yep.
Sure, we see plenty of studios pretending to engage, collecting feedback, sending out surveys, running community Q&A, but it's all incredibly curated, selective, sanitized.
Well, it's sanitized, retarded QA that's invented and created by a bunch of worthless HR people or marketing people that contribute nothing to the end product. They add no value to the company, and they'd be better off as janitors because at least then they'd be cleaning up shit rather than making the game shit.
They'll ask what weapon balance feels like or what feature you want in the next patch, but they won't ask why players are feeling alienated, why character designs are getting roasted, or why games like Concord flop while games like Marvel Rivals take off. In a lot of cases, the industry simply isn't asking questions they don't want the answers to.
Wait, you can do that? What? That's crazy. Wow.
And he went on to say that CI Games recently started working with the same playtesting agency that helped FromSoft with Elden Ring. And while they're not designing by committee, they are validating their design through player feedback.
So let me get this straight. They thought, okay, well, the game that we were trying to copy didn't go very well, so why don't we just have the people that did playtesting for the game that we tried to copy playtest our game and then make it good? Huh. That seems like a pretty good idea. That makes sense. Yeah, I could see that. Sounds
Finally,
smart.
I had asked him if this kind of transparency and player-first focus was just a phase or whether it was something they were going to be committed to long-term. He responded saying, "We made a promise to be player-first and we will stay fully committed to that. But the key focus will always remain on making the best games we can." Now, look, I'm not going to say that CI Games or Hexwork are perfect. I'm not saying that every studio needs to agree with every player.
I think that it's very important that developers feel like they can make the games that they choose to make. And I think that's true with everything. That's why, for example, I was pretty positive about South of Midnight. I felt like this was a game that was made for an audience of people. I'm not necessarily a part of it, but this is an audience of people that does exist, and it has a right to exist. But I think the problem really of what happens is that there are people that, it's the parasitic relationship where they insert themselves into a franchise, into a fan base, or into a game or a studio that they're really not a part of, and then they try to actively change it to make it in line with what they believe. That's the big difference.
Hell, I'm not even saying that every studio or publisher should follow exactly what CI Games and Hexworks are doing. But if we want this industry to get better, to make games better, to rebuild trust that's been bleeding for years now, we need more of this. More honesty, more questions, more humility, more studios that are willing to say, we were wrong, and change course. More studios willing to listen. CI Games and Hexworks aren't just patching a game, they're patching a broken relationship between players, publishers, and studios. And Lords of the Fallen and its 2.0 patch is just the first step down that path. A move towards more transparency and real discussions is the only way that we're going to get better games. It's how this industry heals over time, because it does need to heal. It's been struggling for a while, and I'm sure this is going to lead to some tough conversations, and people's feelings are bound to get hurt, but it's the only way for things to get better. It's the only way for us to get better games, and for some of these people to be able to keep their jobs in some cases.
That's a really good point that he's bringing up, is that these journalists are like the sirens in the Greek myths. They're singing a song of body type 1 and 2, and all of these big studios are crashing their boats on the rocks of DEI. Unironically, that's what's happening. They're being led astray, and they're destroying their studios. I know this is like, it's a little bit, fucking ridiculous to say, but am I really wrong, though?
Because of that, they then just dismiss whatever the other side has to say. When you got two walls that are screaming at each other and neither one of them want to move, well, nothing can happen. Can't have that. It's great to see how much Lords of the Fallen has improved. I love seeing a studio genuinely listening to their audience, implementing that feedback, iterating on that design, and improving their game. That's exactly what they've done. 2 years this game has been out. Like I said before, in most cases, it would have been long abandoned. They never gave up on it. It has been an absolute joy to play. I recommend it to everybody that's been watching this video.
I beat the game. Like after I played it on stream, I knew I was going on vacation. I beat the entire game off stream.
While CI Games and Hexworks aren't going to get it right every single time, no studio ever does, at least these guys are trying. And from my perspective, that's more than we get in a lot of cases. So I appreciate that. I want to give a huge thanks to you guys, the viewer.
It's a really good point that he brings up here is that, we really have to go and say a lot more often that we really do appreciate you guys that watch. Because, at the end of the day, he or I are really just primals in Final Fantasy. We're only as strong as the people who believe in us. And I think that there have been a lot of people who have been tremendously supportive and massively beneficial to, this movement. And it couldn't have happened without you guys. It really couldn't have. And I think the truth is that, I'm just a guy on the internet, right? But you guys choose to watch my videos. You choose to listen to what I'm saying. You agree with it. You support me. And, we're really lucky to have that. And I don't really say that enough. I think a lot of people don't say it enough. But it's really because of you guys that all of this is happening. That's the truth.
I want to give a huge thanks to Lords of the Fallen for sponsoring this video. Make sure that you guys go and check out the 2.0 update. It will be live by the time this video has gone up. I've been playing it. I've been really enjoying it. If you have the game, re-download it. Invite one of your friends to come and play it for free. If you don't have the game, they have wildly deep discounts across the board. PlayStation Store, Xbox, Epic Game Store, Steam, all of them. Up to 70% off on almost every single platform. Go check it out. Go give the game a buy. It's definitely worth your money. And yeah, that's all I have. I'm actually going to hop off and play a little bit more.
Expedition 33 just shattered the narrative. The funny thing about this video is I've already watched it in my own mind. I know everything that this video is going to say. I know every point that he's going to make. I know the entire thing, and I cannot wait to watch it. I've pre-watched it in my dreams. Yeah, prove it. Yeah, that's what it's going to be.
Like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment down below.
Yeah, it's different.
Share the video with your friends. And come follow me on Twitch. Watch me
nasty,
live.
Bro.
Stay cool, stay righteous, stay safe.
family, 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 family.
I am so fucking glad that this has happened. And I'm also so glad that the 2.0 update has been received so well by players. And I think it's just going to become more and more common now. More and more you're going to see people pushing back against this. And not only are they going to push back against it, but they're going to receive such a tremendous amount of support that they're going to, you know, you're going to see more and more people doing it. And by the game just on principle, yeah, I mean, I played it. I thought it was really good. I mean, I did. I played it a lot. And so, like, that was it. Yeah, without you, the common voice wouldn't be as loud. Well, the reason why I started pushing for a lot of this stuff is because, I mean, really just at a baseline, I don't like being told what to do. I don't like being told what to think. I don't want to have some weird fucking freak trying to talk down to me. It's fucking annoying. And at the end of the day, like, I'm a pretty abrasive, like, asshole kind of guy, right? I am. I know this about myself. That's just the way I am. And so when I go and I'm talking about something and I have these fucking Karens, these mentally ill fucking freaks sitting on Twitter trying to tell me that my joke is a problem. No, I'm not. No, my joke isn't the problem. You're the problem. Get the fuck out of my life. And that's the way I see it. They always have blue hair. No, sometimes they're also fat. But anyway, that's the reason. We are the woke people, not the opposition. Yeah, true. And I felt this way as a kid. I felt this way as an adult. I've always felt this way. I just don't want people sitting around talking down to me, telling me what to do, and, you know, like, trying to patronize me. Just as a very, very basic level. Like, I am very much a live and let live kind of guy, but the moment that you invade my space and you try to change what I'm doing or make me do what you want, you have now become the enemy. That's the thing. And I have no problem acknowledging that, defining that, and acting on it. Because to me, I just want to play video games. I just want to do what I want to do. I want to make the jokes that I want to make. I want to talk the way that I like talking. And if you have a problem with it, then that's you. That's it. I have no enemies. Yeah, I don't really take it personally in a big way, right? Like, I don't really get angry at them. I just simply view this as a problem to solve. It's like a piece of garbage that's on the floor where you have to pick it up and put it in the trash can. And so that's it. Women keep trying to talk about how guys need their safe space with other men, but they can continue invading and ruining our things that we enjoy. No, this isn't something with women. Now, obviously, I think that there are a lot of women that have tried to do this, and there's like kind of like a gendered slant to it. But no, there are tons of based women. A woman wrote Shadowbringers for Final Fantasy XIV. You know, J.K. Rowling wrote Harry Potter. No, we're not going to get into any of this like cringe fucking women bad shit. Karens and women are very different, okay? And there's plenty of fucking simps that are way worse than any other girl, okay? The only thing worse than a Karen is a fucking pussy-starved beta simp that's doing whatever she says in order to hopefully get a fucking tiny little fragment of attention, right? That's the only thing worse than a Karen. And so, yeah, that's what I think. Karens are powered by simps. That's right. And it's a feminine woman. These are Karens. Don't be a Karen. Yeah, that's just what I would say. So we have been winning this war, I would say, against like this type of thinking and everything. I'm very happy about that. And we will continue to do that. I know that some people might think that I am like, you know, like it's aggressive or like mean or whatever to do that. To me, it doesn't really matter. Like, I just think I think this is what's working, and so we're just gonna do this. I'll be right back, okay?